is episode 10. In the previous episode, we had finished the 4 sets of verses that influence my understanding of the Gita. And today, we will go back to chapter 2. I had said it's important to share the 4 sets of verses that influence my thinking. So having done that, it's now time to get back to chapter 2, which is known as Sankhya Yoga, or the yoga of self-realization or yoga of attainment. There are 72 verses in this chapter, which are divided into 4 parts. The first part focuses on the event where Arjuna pleads to God for guidance. The second part refers to the event where God is explaining the eternal soul, which is also called Dehina in this chapter. In the third part, God talks about karma and yoga. And in the last part, he covers the qualities of a self-realized person. So these are the 4 parts of chapter 2. Today, we will cover verses 2.1 to 2.10, which are the first part. So a total of 10 verses of chapter 2. We will start off with the literal translations first, and then I will share some interesting facts. The first verse goes like this. Sanjay Uvach, Tam tatha kripya avishtam ashrupurna akulekshanam vishidantam idam vakyam uvach Madhusudana. This translates into Sanjay says, seeing Arjuna overwhelmed with pity and despondency, his eyes full of tears and his mind grief-stricken, Lord Krishna spoke these words. Moving on to verse 2. Shri Bhagwan Uvach, Kutah tva kashmalam idam vishme samupasthitam anaryam ajushtam aswargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. God says, Arjuna, how has this delusion or despondency overcome you in this difficult time, in this hour of peril? This behavior is not befitting an honorable person, and it does not lead to a higher abode or heaven or fame or a state of Shashvat Shanti. Then verse 3, Klabyam mam sma gamah parth na etat tvai upapadyate kshudram hriday dorbalyam tyaktva uttisht parantapa. God says, O Parth, it does not befit you to yield to this weakness or unmanliness. Give up such petty weakness of faint-heartedness and arise, O vanquisher of enemies, which is a reference to Arjuna. Verse 4 is, Arjuna Uvach, Katham bhishmam aham sankhe dronam cha madhusudan ishubhi pratiyotsyami puja arhavi arisudan. O Lord Krishna, how can I shoot arrows in this battle on men like Bhishma and Dronacharya, who are worthy of my worship? Then verse 5 is, Gurun hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaksham api loke hatva kartham tu gurun ih ev bhunjiya bhogan rudih pradigdhan. Arjun says, it would be better to live in this world by begging than to enjoy life by killing these noble elders who are my teachers. If we kill them to protect the earth, the wealth and pleasures we enjoy or the food we eat will be tainted with their blood. I will be feeding on blood-stained benefits and happiness. So that was verse 5. Verse 6 is, Na cha etat vidmah katarat nah gariyo yat va jayem yadi va no jayeyu yanev hatva na jiji visham ste avasthita pramukhe dharth rashtra. Arjun says, I am not able to decide which result of this war is preferable for us, conquering them or being conquered by them. The sons of Dhritarashtra stand before me on this battlefield, and I have no desire to kill them. So that was verse 6. Verse 7 is, Karpanya dosho aphat subhava prichhami tvam dharma sammudh cheta yat shreya syat nishchitam bruhi tat me Shishya te aham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. Arjun says, I am confused about my duty and am besieged with faint-heartedness, sympathy and pity. I am a fool and hence looking up to you for guidance on dharma. Please instruct me for certain on what is best for me. I am your disciple and have surrendered to you. So Arjuna is asking God to clearly explain to him what is right for him according to dharma. and to instruct him to follow the right path. He is God's disciple and has surrendered to him at this moment. Then verse 8 is Nahi prapashyami mam apanudyat yat shokam uchchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhumav asapatna ridham rajyam suranampi chadhipatyam. Arjun says, I can find no means of driving away this anguish that is driving up my senses. Even if I win a prosperous and unrivaled kingdom on this earth or gain sovereignty of the celestial gods, I'll be unable to dispel this grief. So that is verse 8. And then verse 9 is Sanjay Uvach Evam Uktva Hrishikesham Gudakeshah Parantapa Na Yotse Iti Govindam Uktva Tushinim Babhuvha. Sanjay says, having thus spoken to Lord Krishna, Arjun says, I shall not fight, and became silent. Then verse 10 is Tam Uvach Hrishikesha Prahasan Iv Bharat Seneh Ubhyoh Madhe Vishidantam Idam Vacha. Sanjay says, O Bharat, which is reference to King Dhritarashtra. Thereafter, in the midst of both the armies, Lord Krishna spoke the following words smilingly to the grief-stricken Arjuna. So this was verse 10. And after this, God starts explaining in 3 parts his key messages, as I have mentioned earlier. In these 10 verses, you can feel Arjun's pain, sadness, and despondency, to which the Lord says, this doesn't befit you. Do not yield to weakness, arise and fight, and says other motivational things. Arjun responds by saying he's confused and isn't able to decide, that he has surrendered himself to the Lord, who should clearly instruct and guide him to the path of dharma. He further adds, I will not fight until I am clearly instructed and guided. So these are the literal translations of the 10 verses. All of that is fine. However, I would like to share an interesting interpretation from Paramahansa Yogananda with you. In the Gita, God explains to Arjun that there are 3 ways to achieve Shashvat Shanti, that is, the paths of Gyan, Karma and Dhyan. However, according to Paramahansa Yogananda, God doesn't always communicate or talk when he is incarnated or in the form of a human being. He does so in several other ways too. A few examples of various such ways would be a piece of advice given to you by a wise or intelligent person, wisdom imparted by a teacher, and also the inner voice which preaches righteousness and unrighteousness. Paramahansa Yogananda also says, it's easy for anyone to take and follow the advice of an intelligent person or a teacher. However, it's very difficult to listen to one's inner voice and plan your actions based on it. But it is true that God speaks to you and guides you to follow the right path through your inner voice or through your conscience. And inner intuition is also a way in which God may counsel his devotee. This is what Paramahansa Yogananda says. I hope you like this. Thank you.